Now, so first of all, really good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. It was important for me to participate, although I'm on a family vacation, to celebrate the post-COVID-19, at least the first wave, and I'm in the Upper Galilee in Israel, also celebrating the 10th anniversary with my wife. But it was really important for me to speak with you and tell you a little bit more about corporate open innovation, which is a real important opportunity for corporations these days. Innovate Israel is a company that helps corporations and governments to innovate with third parties like startups, like academy, like other companies. There is an arrogance of success in corporations that tend to think that what used to work for them in the past is going to be enough for the future. And if there is one thing I want you to take out of my presentation is that now more than ever, it's really not enough. It's really not enough. And there is a constant need to innovate and to be better and to integrate more technologies in order to really beat the competitors and be relevant. During the COVID-19 crisis, we could see that corporations that were relying on technology were more flexible to handle the crisis. So if we all want to get prepared for the next wave of COVID-19 that might come, we need to integrate more technologies and really fast. And the only way to do so is with partnerships, with third parties. Everyone is speaking today about increasing efficiency. The only way to do so is with technology, the only way. And this is a quote I really like. It doesn't really matter who you are. Most of the smartest people work for someone else. It's the case also for Google, for Facebook, for Amazon. Statistically, most of the smartest people are always working for someone else. And if that's the case, let's partner with those third parties, with those else, with those others. Let's partner with them. Let's get the best out of this partnership. This is actually the basic idea of open innovation. Open innovation is really the lowest risk with the greatest ROI as long as you do it right. And there is a lot of know-how how to really do it right. I've recently shared an article with 10 important tips how to really do it right, how to get the best out of open innovation for corporations. And with your permission, I would like to share with you the 10 tips, but to concentrate on the first one. And the first tip is to make sure that the C-level, the chief, all the CEO, CMO, CFO, all the other management members and the board members are engaged, are committed to innovation. Because without a strong commitment from their end, it's just not going to happen. And there is a lack of know-how in the board of the company, in most of them, in the top management, that really risks the company future. When there is not enough knowledge with respect to the importance of open innovation, it risks the company future. Most of the board members are usually oriented with business, finance, and it's not enough anymore. It's not enough. When they don't know technology, when they don't know innovation, it's a problem. When they will know better, the companies will do better, will perform better. And the case is that with business and finance orientation around the board and the top management, when it's not enough, you have to have some other people that to lead the company in 2020. You need diversity. You need professionals in the board. You need people that are professional with technology and innovation. In Israel, for an example, it is mandatory by law that in each and every board of a bank, there has to be at least one board member who is specialized with technology and innovation. And there has to be a committee of board members to deal with this important topic. According to MIT, you need at least 3 board members with such an orientation to technology and innovation. And when you have so, you see that the bottom line of the companies is improved by far comparing to their competitors. You see that the bottom line in terms of profit margins, revenue growth, asset yield, market value growth are much higher than competitors. And you know, to add these type of people to the current management of the company is relatively small and cheap step and very easy to make. So why not doing it? The average age of board member in S&P 500 is 60. Only 2% of the board members are below the age of 55. And with all the respect, we are living in 2020. And with all the respect to experienced people, we need to have other skills and age diversification in the board. In Israel, again, the company, the governmental companies aim to have 20% of board members below the age of 40. An EQUILAR study supports this. We don't have enough time to get into that, but of course, if you'll be interested, I'll be more than happy to share this presentation so you'll be able to read also the small letters. When you have such diversity in the board, suddenly you have time to speak about innovation, about the budget for innovation. The management meets entrepreneurs. Suddenly the whole discussion is completely different, which is so important, so important. And the board member need to have innovation committee. The board members need to know what questions they should ask. What are the right questions to ask? If they don't know what to ask. And of course, to make the company take risks, to convince the company employees, top management to take risk. It is super important. And of course, to share once in a quarter a review, sharing with the shareholders what type of innovation was taken in the last quarter. And also make sure that the employees are incentivized to do innovation. The second tip is to have an innovation leader, a single point of access in the company with the contact for startups, for others to approach. One you can rely on, one that can take the startup hand by hand along the process. The third tip is to share your challenges. What are your challenges? Share it with the ecosystem. Absolutely, your challenges nowadays are completely different from those you had 3 months ago. For an example, in the fintech, it is clear that banks and insurance companies are relying more on fintech companies these days following the COVID-19. It is clear that working closely is not anymore a luxury. Remote team building, building relationship with clients and communities, and of course, to make the digital relationship with the clients much more digital. The fourth tip is to hire people who have the fear of missing out and get rid out of those that are motivated by ego, those that are kind of not invented here type of people. Speak the startup lingo. Make partnerships, as many partnerships as you can with startups and others. Allocate some budget. but between us, it's not that expensive. Not to measure innovation by ROI, at least not during the first couple of years. Measure it by number of POCs. Are you looking for equity from a fintech, from startup? Pay for that. Might get some discount, but you need to pay for that. And of course, to minimize bureaucracy when you're working with startups. And when you're looking for a specific domain, in Israel at least, it is relatively easy. All you need to do is to Google, for in this example, for CyberMap ecosystem Israel, and you get these leading startups in the cybersecurity. This is what you get for financial domain, the fintech. Every small logo here is a startup. You can see here eToro, for an example, that we just had a great presentation. InsurTech, AI, artificial intelligence, which is quite impressive ecosystem. And this is just a new map of startups that are combating the virus, the COVID-19. This was my presentation, and as I was saying, one of the core elements of open innovation is sharing, is partnering. So you're more than welcome to get in touch. I'll be more than happy to share with you the presentation and other ideas from my hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very informative speech, similar to the previous ones. I would like to open the floor here. Honestly, this has been an amazing 1 hour and a half with all these insightful presentations, which I believe are complementing each other in actually helping us understand the new framework. I have a question for Ludmila. We are seeing now that we are in the period of consultation. I understand that the Commission is trying to gather all this information in order to come up with a new proposal in Q3 regarding the new digital finance strategy. The first question that I have is whether there are any discussions or any indication regarding specific funding programs for digital finance that are expected to be requested and therefore absorbed by member states.
Yes, I think giving the floor. I don't know whether it's not better to gather more questions maybe and answer a few questions all together, or just go one by one.
Let's go one by one.
Yes. Okay. Well, okay, thanks. Thank you very much for all the presenters. These were really interesting presentations, and it's very important also for the Commission to gather the local specificities, if you wish, and the points that are relevant for each and every market. And apart from some technical issues, I've been listening very carefully to your presentations. Indeed, the challenges you are facing are common for most of the member states, and we understand very well all the points that you're raising, and of course we will do our best to reflect this also in our proposals. As I mentioned, there will be two proposals: one on crypto assets and on the operational resilience, on cybersecurity, and also there will be a digital finance strategy that we're currently developing. To your question on the special programs, so actually the Commission, as I mentioned, we have different initiatives on digital finance. So different DGs and different Commission services are involved, maybe not in the digital finance, but in the digitalization and all the aspects of the digital transformation. So I wouldn't speak with the specific examples, even though I could give a more specific answer maybe in writing after the conference. But DG FISMA, the DG that I'm working at, we are not proposing any specific programs. But I know that there are many DGs, and there are a lot of resources that have been allocated on and digitalization. So one thing that comes to my mind is DG Connect, which is organizing is having a lot of programs. We have also DG Research, which is the Director General for the Research and Innovation. And there are also another program. So I will be happy, of course, to provide you with further data and with further details for some programs that might be of help for your for the interested companies and the interested fintechs.
Yes, it would certainly be very helpful to know that the Commission is supporting, or it will be supporting, all the initiatives that will be undertaken by EU member states with regards to infrastructure and whether financing will be there to proceed with these investments. One word that I have been hearing throughout the workshop today is regulation, and the need to actually have the full-blown regulation in order for fintech, but also competitors of fintech, to know what is a framework where they can actually work. So as part of this fintech consultation and action plan strategy that will be coming, I think we just lost Ludmila again. So this is not a Cyprus problem, by the way. I don't want anyone to blame
back again
for the infrastructure. So I was saying, Ludmila, that one word that we have been hearing here is the need for regulation to be to demonstrate what the framework will be and what fintech can do, what they cannot do, and when can we expect that?
As I already mentioned, we are currently working on the proposals, on the 3 proposals that before mentioned, and this work has been confirmed by the new Commission work program. So the deadline haven't changed. So we're still aiming the Q3 of this year. The Commission still believes that these are important proposals that have to be addressed, even though we know that the period now is challenging, and we are facing also another difficulties. So we are currently working, and the decision-making process, as you know, is the Commission coming out with a proposal, and then there will be, of course, the negotiations between the European Council and the European Parliament. We also wait for the European Parliament to see their position on this subject, even though there has been an own initiative. There might be also own initiative reports for each of these files. But once we enter into negotiations, there will be some time before this proposal will materialize and become a legislation. In the meantime, as I mentioned, we are working on this proposal. We are preparing. We prepared actually already the impact assessment, which showed us the possible ways which we are going to follow in our proposal, which hopefully the things will move forward, and we expect, as planned, to move according to the plans.
Mm-hmm. And can you mention something regarding the EU passporting and the available seats? I mean, what are the developments there?
Yes, this is also one of the areas we are working, of course, on, and that's why I mentioned this is an area where we also need your input, because it's an important issue that we would like to calibrate to the best possible way, so that we don't really lose our competitive advantage, but we don't do anything on the detriment of our companies, of the European companies. So it's an issue that it's one of the main issues that we are considering. And again, I urge the companies and all the stakeholders to reply to our consultation, because it will really give us a good as to how to address these issues.
All right, thank you. A question for Christos here. We had a question regarding the startups which are offering these AI-driven services that I described before to financial services, where in some cases, perhaps there is no real transparency. So how can financial service providers be compelled to ensure new AI-based services which respect consumer rights?
I mean, that is a question that goes also regarding the digital ID vendors. Because I mean, the same questions as far as the level of reliability and assurance, I mean, goes both for the digital ID vendors and the artificial intelligence vendors as well. So the regulators themselves, they need to put points down to see how these tools should be transparent. So a full documentation, first of all, should be, I mean, coming with the tool, showing exactly how the different, let's say, results are extracted. So one of the things that definitely a vendor should do is to fully document how the results are extracted. So that is one of the things that it can be done. And at the same time, I mentioned before that a regulatory sandbox should be created. FCA has already created the regulatory sandbox, and it's very and it's a success. I think that should be replicated in other regulators as well, in order to test these new tools on how they are in line with the different regulations.
All right, thank you very much. And before wrapping up, I want to take the opportunity, having the advantage to talk to Itai and ask what lessons can we learn here in Cyprus regarding what you guys have done in Israel with respect to the framework and the regulation? How can we learn from your experiences regarding digital finance and how we can drive forward this journey that certainly we have embarked on, but still at early stages? I think you're on mute, Itai.
So now I hope that you can hear me. I think that, as I mentioned, the government has an important role. I gave a really simple example of having professionals in the area of innovation and technology in the boards. So I think this is something which is relatively easy with a huge impact. And once it starts, there are many more initiatives. The government can set hackathons and sandbox and incentivize the big corporations to work with the startups, to incentivize investors to invest in startups. So there is so much to do. But again, it starts from the basic understanding for the value of innovation. And when there is no such understanding, deep understanding, it's just not going to happen. So it starts with education. And the more the government...
What Andrea was saying before, it links with this financial literacy very well.
Right. And for example, there are many initiatives in Israel that push corporations to collaborate with other corporations from around the world in order to promote together innovation. It is in the banking, in the insurance space. So for any bank in Cyprus or for any insurance company in Cyprus that is interested to collaborate with Israeli colleague like a bank or insurance company, let's do it. I mean, it is possible. It is possible, and people in Israel are very much open for that, very much. And I know that we have also audience from Europe, not only from Cyprus, and this is relevant for them as well. Israelis are relatively very open people for partnerships. And the key in 2020 is partnering, realizing that we don't know everything. We need to rely on others. We need to partner with others and to do it very, very fast. Very fast.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Itai. We have said so many things, and I think this has been a successful workshop. We had two audiences, I would say. The first part has been all you participants, and also we have the representatives from the European Commission, whom we thank a lot for giving us the opportunity for this collaboration. The main message that I would like to give here is, first of all, who has been on this panel? People from the regulators. We had the chairman of chairwoman of SciSec. We have people from the ministry. We have people from the financial sector. We have people from the academia, people from the private sector, like Christos, still here on board. So the message to the Commission is that we are all ready. We are engaged. This is a strong message to you that we are waiting for the next step. And when you see in a panel so many people coming from all these different backgrounds, and you have the regulators on top of it through SciSec, and also the Ministry of Finance, as well as the new Ministry of Innovation and Digital Policy here in Cyprus, which I believe will drive the agenda. And we have seen a strong commitment with people like Itai mentioned before, that they do understand what are the benefits. It's not just a philosophical question. It's not just a theoretical discussion. It actually takes place. We are seeing all these technology companies here in Cyprus. Personally, I'm very proud of living here and seeing all these companies undertaking so many projects and proceeding with their ambitious plans. But the message is for the Commission that we do need more, and we are ready to take more. I will finish with this. For those who are listening us from Europe, thank you very much for joining. For people here in Cyprus, again, thank you for joining. For Europeans, I would say how well we have managed to tackle the outbreak of the coronavirus. If you haven't made plans for vacation, Cyprus is ready to welcome you. So I give the floor to Irini Pigi, the strategist of the Ministry of Finance, where she would like to take the opportunity and close up the event. Irini, please, can you get on board?
Yes. Yes. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say a very big thank you to everybody for participating in this event and everybody organizing the event. And just a very, very quick, just titles of the things that I took note of during the event today. And of course, we'll be sharing this with the Commission. Digital financial literacy was mentioned a lot. It's a very important issue, and I think the Commission has to take action in this. A harmonized approach on DLT across the EU, which already, as Ludmila said, the Commission is preparing something, but again, we can share some views on this issue. EU passporting for digital finance, always a protection of the consumers. It came up a lot during the discussion. And regulatory sandboxes, as Christos mentioned, it's